two topics here. One is about the data table and row selections. Second one is overlay layout. There's a pop-up window. I want pop-up window to create a record, pop-up window to display the record. So let me first start with the data table once again quickly. I'll just give the quick basics of the data table, then we move on to the row selection, all the stuff. So we had a attribute called, we have a component called lightning data table. This is used to display list of records. If you want to display a group of records, we are going to use a data table. So here, when you are going to the data table, the key attributes, main attributes are key field. This is the name of the field based on which we are going to identify the record uniquely. It is the name of the field based on which we are going to identify the record uniquely. So obviously, we prefer to go with ID. Then, what are the list of records you want to display? Data. This will specify list of records. This will specify list of records which you want to display. This will specify list of records which we want to display. Data. This will specify the list of records which you want to display. Now, columns. This will specify list of fields which we want to display. So, key field, data, columns. And we also know Euro ID. This is the one of. Now, it's just like probably in the VFPS, you might have done this type of concepts. In the VFPS, you might have done this type of concepts. Dynamic tables. Do you remember? Whenever we want to display the list of records dynamically, when I'm not sure when the list of fields what I want to display is going to change time to time. When it's not a fixed data which I'm trying to display, the list of fields what I'm going to select is changing time to time. Then I used to go with a column value equal to records of. Do you remember this context? We made a quick dynamic SQL query. We made an example of dynamic SQL query. Where I have a list of fields here. Now, are you sure which type of fields I am going to select? Every user is going to select same type of fields. Will every user select the same type of field? No. Every user will not select the same type of field. If you always know fixed data, if you always know name, phone, email I want to print, I can go with your iteration. If you always know you want to display name, phone, email, you got your iteration. I can give and I say I am printing a dot name, a dot phone. I was supposed to mention it manually. Each and every field that I want to display, I was supposed to mention it manually. Now suppose there is a concept like this, name, phone, email, type rating, ownership. Now do you know which fields I am going to select? I am not sure. So if this is the concept, in the Visual Force programming, what you done? In the classic you have done page block table, within the page block table repeat, within the repeat record of field, like this we used to display. Similar kind of example, when I am not sure which data I am going to display, when I am not sure which fields I am going to display, that is going to change from context to context. That is going to change from context to context. Then I can go with a data table, because already we have iteration. Already we have iteration which will display a list of record, but it will not give you a look and feel. It's not giving a look and feel of Lightning. So if you want to display a list of records with the exact look and feel of Lightning, then we are going for a data table where we can give dynamically the data what we want to display, the fields which you want to display. So if you give a list of fields what you want to display and the data what you want to display, it will display the data. Right? It is going to display the list of records which you have passed. It is going to display the list of fields which you specified. So list of fields, list of records, list of fields, list of fields, list of record. If you pass those record with that list of data, it is going to display. Right? If you remember well, in the development classes, we have taken a Visual Force component, dynamic Visual Force component. Instead of going for a page block table every time, we made our own custom component to display a list of records. Do you remember that? Right? Expecting too much from you? Right. Chalo. The same dynamic component, the similar kind of things. Now, if I give a list of records, if I give a list of fields, automatically it is going to display here. Lightning data table. Lightning data table is to display the list of records. First, let us move on to the basic example. Then I go to the let's move on to the basic example. Then I'll give the extension. Yesterday I have given a concept. I have given a UI diagram. List of records are going to be selected. Whichever the record I am selecting, that record ID should go to the next component. The data should be transferred between the component. When I have a list of components, whichever the record I am selecting, that record ID should be passed to the next component where that will display the data. I told, do you remember yesterday's scenario? I had a concept here. In the left hand side, I need to show the list of record. Whichever the record I am selecting, that record data should be displayed on the right hand side, and I was supposed to pass the ID from one component to another component. That was a core objective of this. Okay. So to achieve that, look at the format, what I am doing. Now I am going to data table example. Draw enable public static stop. Now I fetched a list of records. Basically, the first concept I have done is I have written a SQL query. I have written a SQL query. I was fetching the list of records and I want to display the list of records. So I want to take the old data so that I will have all the type of fields. Okay, all the new records which you created dummy data, you don't have the values in all the fields, so I am taking the old data. This is the first class. I wrote a class using which I was trying to fetch the data from the database. Then what I want to do, go to the component, data table. It's already existing, so first I need what? In attribute to store list of records and a list of so I'm taking URA attribute name equal to data what I want to display, type equal to object, URA attribute name equal to columns, type equal to. So the data what I want to display, the columns what I want to display. Now the point here is how will you get the data? The data is I have given as an attribute. I have given it as an attribute. The moment I have given as an attribute, how are you getting the data into this attribute? So I gave URA and name equal to init, value equal to I given C dot. So define controller so what I was supposed to do, first create the list of columns. If you want to create a list of columns, it is going to be like this. How you, if you remember well, label name, field name, which give type, data type of the field, text, phone number, email, like this. So I was taking here where columns equal to, I want to create a list of fields. So what I want to take, label, account name, field name, type, I want a group of fields, have so I have taken this. These are the list of columns which I want to display. Right. Yes, Amma? Or okay. Then what I was supposed to do? Set this to columns then. How do you set? Component dot set. You set the columns. Right. Then we are also supposed to get the data. So you can define a helper method or you can define an action straight away here. If you want to practice helper method, go to helper, create the invocation of data. Or else what I can do, I want to define it. So what is the name of the class we have defined? Data table exam. Go to the component, define it as control So go to the concept here. What is the data we got? Call echoes. Then where action equal to component dot get c dot. We are supposed to enqueue the action $a dot enqueue action. Then get the data. How you get it? Action dot set this comma function here as usual get the state response dot if state success. Okay. If the state success, we have where result equal to response dot get return back. Then I am going to say component dot set v dot data so what I have done, I set the columns, I have fetched the data and I have given. First one I have get the columns and I have passed the columns to the component. Second one I have fetched the data, I have passed the data to the component. Now the component is data table account. Go to the application. First, we are just trying to understand extends so have a preview. Right. Now component we have created handler. What we are going to supposed to create? Lightning data table. First I'll go with URA ID. Then you can go with key field. Go with the data. Columns. Right now we have only this key field data columns. Go to the application, have a preview. So we received a list of records here. This is the data what I received. Now in this we have a choice to hide the checkboxes or show the checkboxes. So if you go to data table, in the data table we have hide checkboxes. There is an attribute here. So we have a column here which will specify by default there is a false. You don't want the checkboxes to be taken. Go back here. We had a data table without checkbox. By default the value is false. By default the value is false. So we are able to see the list of checkboxes. Now what I want to do is, in the checkboxes, when you have a group of records, I want to go for a mass update operation. In the Visual Force, if you are using a Visual Force concept, you have a extension concept. If you go with extension concept, we have done with a standard controller with a standard set controller. Do you remember that concepts? People might have done with extension, right? Standard controller with a standard set controller. What was the purpose of this? Mass update. Now I want to select a group of records. I want to select a group of records, and I want to click on a button. Then I want to update those records. I want to delete those records. I want to get those sale records. I want to manipulate. So whenever you want to perform mass operation, so that may be a list of record, that may be a list of wrapper, that may be a map records. So in the table, what I can display? List I can display, map I can display. Now that list can be a record, list can be a wrapper, right? So when you have a list of records displayed in the table, when you want to work on more than one record at a time, then we go for mass operation. So we have a checkbox, select the records, click on the button, whichever the records are selected will display. General examples what we have done: account, list of accounts with the wrapper, checkboxes, right? General examples what we have done: we converted the, okay, when you go write a SQL query, we got convert the data of list of account into wrapper class with one checkbox, one account record, whichever the account we selected, okay, delete those account or send an email to those accounts, update the owner, submit the records for approval. Okay, at a time I want to submit 10 records for approval, at a time 10 records I want to share using a programming, at a time I want to delete. Then this type of mass operation when you want to do it. Now when you write a SQL query, we only get a list of record, but if you want to apply selection of the record, we used to use a wrapper class. So like that, whenever we are going for a list of records and you want to perform an operation of mass operation, then I go for a checkbox where I'm going to select the list of record and perform an operation of insert or update or delete or whatever it is. Here also, I am going to select a group of record. But how do I know the records are selected? In the Visual Force, when I have taken a wrapper class, I used to take a flag. If flag equal to true, record is selected. Flag equal to false, record is not selected. But here in this case, on the data table, how do you understand which records are selected? Because it's not a wrapper list I'm taking. Now, how do you understand which records are selected? Which records are selected? When you went to the standard controller with this, okay, standard controller with extension with the standard set controller, then we got get all the records, get selected. Do you remember that? Get selected. Okay, only selected records is to come. When you are using an extension, we have a predefined function called get selected. Out of the list of record, only selected records will come. Similarly, the same concept of get selected in the data table, we have on row selection. Okay, so look at this. On the data table, we have some actions here. What was that? On row selection. On row selection. On row selection. When I say on row selection, what it is going to give? This action is triggered when row action is clicked by default. It is going to return you 1 minute. Row selection. Row selection is going to return you the selected rows object. It is going to give you selected rows object. It is going to give you selected rows object. So if you want to know what are the list of records you have selected, then we need to go with on row selection. So go back to this. I was giving it on row selection. On row selection. Whenever the row is selected, this action is performed. Then what is the action that is performed here? Invoke. Go to the client side controller, define an action. Now, how do you know which rows are selected? First, let us see whether it's firing or not. First, let us see whether the action was running properly or not. Right. So, whenever I select the row, it is firing an action. But the question here is, how do you know which row is selected? There, it's an event. On row selection is a event. On row selection is the browser event. On row selection is the event which is occurred. So we need to get the data. Now go back to this. There is a attribute here called selected rows. What was the attribute here? Selected. It is a standard attribute. It is a standard attribute what Salesforce has given. In the data table, we have a standard attribute called rows, selected rows. Okay. Generally, if you want to read the parameters, how do you read the data? Event dot get param, name of the parameter or name of the attribute. When you use a component level events, application level events, what we used to do? Event dot get param attribute name. If you give attribute name, we are going to get the corresponding value. So here, what is the attribute you want? Selected rows. Is the selected is a custom term? It's not a custom term. It is a standard term which is already given by the Salesforce. So how do you read it? Where record is equal to event dot get param. What is the parameter? The selected row was a standard attribute. Then we have taken this. Once you have taken this, I want to give console.log console.log. Similarly, how do you know how many records you selected? Now, I want to know how many records I selected. So, in the JavaScript, generally we go with in the array, generally we go with array. What is that array? Our array is length. There in apex size, in JavaScript we go with go to the console, proxy. Now they are giving how many rows are selected? 1 row. If you go to this, you are able to see ID of the record, the record. This is the record which is selected, name. United Oil Gas Operation. I got proxy, 2 records here. University of Arizona. 3 records are selected. So, right? So, whatever the records I selected, I was able to get the data. Whatever the records I selected, I was able to get the data. Can I assign this data to another attribute? Because we are getting a selected records here, right? We are getting a selected record. These are the record list of records which we selected. Then what I want to do here, I want to create one more attribute. Then go to this component dot right Amma? Whatever the list of records we selected, we are setting to that concerned attribute. The list of records. Now, if you get the list of record, those list of record I will pass as a parameter to the Apex class. Now, whatever the records I am getting, the list of records what I am getting, I was able to put them in a separate list. When I was able to put them in a separate list, I can pass this list of record as a parameter to any one of the Apex class method, so that they will take this list of records. On those list of records, whatever the custom logic we want, they can perform it. Am I right? So whatever the list of records, we are able to capture. Whatever the list of records we selected, we capture the selected records and the data was kept here. Now this is a value. I can pass this value to any one of the apex class method, right? Or else I can pass this value to any one of the component. Now take this list of record, pass as a attribute to the another component using events. Now they can perform an update or delete or transfer or whatever they want, they can do it. Now we are able to achieve the list of selected records and we want to perform the operation. Is that was clear for everyone? Is that was clear for everyone? Right? So we are able to select it. Right? So your example, you've done this operation. You got a list of record because you are going with the on row selection. Now what I want, I don't want on row selection. I want that particular action on the row. That's the reason yesterday you got a list of records. Right? Now what we need is not list of record. That particular record we need. Now we are not interested on the particular all the list of records which I am selecting. This is for operation. This is a different context. But what is our requirement? When I have a list of record, when I click on any one record, that record data should be displayed. So I want to go with that particular record. I want to go with the particular record which is selected. When I want to go with the particular record what is selected, we have a different attribute again. The attribute is on row action. What is the attribute we have? On row action. When you select that particular row, what is the action we want? Okay, this is on row action. So first let me add up the things here. So go to this. We got a labels, right? Here, can you close the door? Where action is equal to label view name view icon name go to some icons and use it. So I'll go to action. The action I have review. Label date name Now, I was trying to create some actions here. So I can also go with so how many actions I created? 3 actions. The labels of the action, they are not the action. We are only creating menu bar. Okay. One is view, delete, edit. I got 3 actions. Now where these actions should be added? These actions should be added to the table. In every row, I want to get a menu where I have view, okay, edit, delete. Now if you want to add them, we need to go with this. Type type attributes type attributes. What was this? Row action. Go back to the application, have a preview. Now we are able to get one menu bar here. Now what is this? This particular row, view, edit, delete. On a particular row, I am getting a view, edit, delete. On a particular row, I am getting a view, edit, delete. When I select view, I want to perform one operation. Edit, one operation. Delete, another operation. Right. So when you say view, automatically I want to create one record view form. Create a dynamic component record view form. When I select edit, record edit form. When I click on delete, when I know ID of the record, pass that ID, I will use record data and delete the record. Are you getting my point here? So we are getting three actions here. Now it is an action. Like how you gave label, account name, industry, phone, rating. I am also giving actions here. What is the type here? Type is action. What is this? Type is action. Now I am trying to define an action. Now I am adding one type called action. In that action, what are the list of actions we want to add? Label name of the action, name of the action, icon what you want to display. Now it is action, label name and this. Now why do I require a name? Because when you select this, how do I know which action you selected? When you select this, I should know which action you selected, right? When you select this, I should know which action you selected. How do I know which action you selected? Based on the name, I am going to identify it. Right? If action type is view, perform this. If action type is edit, perform this. Because the action is on the same row. The action is on the same row. Now, on the same row means ID will be the same. With the help of that ID, what you want to do? Now, we are selecting a particular record only. The particular record only we have selected. With that particular record, what you want to do? You want to view, you want to edit, you want to delete. What exactly you want to do? Okay. Now, the question here is, okay, look at this context. Is everyone is good with this? Type action. Type attributes, row actions, action. Row actions, row action, because I have a group of action. Row actions, action. Type attributes, row action, action. Type attribute, action type, label, name, icon. Label, name, icon. Label, name, icon. I hope you're good. Now the question is, okay. Yes, Amma.
So this quick question. So there are two things here. One, we are selecting the row, and next we are selecting the action. So for the action to know which row got selected, we need to select the row and then action, or
that's what I'm trying to explain. That.
Okay, sorry. Okay, got it.
Now go with this. Now we are going to give on row action. So when on row, when a particular row you have selected, right? Now every row has that option action type. Now action type is not given commonly. For every row we have that action. So we are going to a particular row and selecting the action type. So here we have call. So the first. So when you say call me, look at the story. Is it all together is given, or for every row they have given? So if I clicked on this, what does it mean? That particular row is selected. When I clicked on this, on that particular row I selected. On that particular row I selected. On row action. That row, on the row I have made an action. What action? View, edit, delete. First I selected a row. On row action, I selected a row. On that row, what is the action? View or edit or delete. Okay. Now the question is, which row you selected? The question is, which row you selected? Which row you selected? So, get the row. Now look at this. When I want to know the row, go to this. We want to know what is the row we selected. Now here we want to have a attribute called row, where row date selected equal to this is event. On row action means it's an event. Event dot get param first I'll give console.log. Right. Now I give console.log row select. Go back to this. Now we are getting a row. It is invoked, but which row is that? So what I want to do, row selected dot. If I give ID, you understand. Are you getting the ID? Are you getting the ID? ID of the record which I selected. You're getting the ID of the record. ID of the record we are getting. When you're getting the ID of the record, if you know ID of the record, then I can perform anything that I want on that particular record. So it is up to your choice whether you want to go with a dynamic component, whether you want to go with the overlay, whether you want to go with the Apex class. It is up to your choice. We are able to get the ID of the record which I am selecting. Right. Then move on to the next step. At the same time, I want to know, get the action. Get the action which is performed. Where event dot get action data dot. At the same time, which action was that? You're able to get view action name. Right, ma'am? So we are able to get the name of the action. We are able to get the ID of the record. Right. Then, right. What we can do, we can also perform something like case operation. We can apply a case operation. Case view it is a case, switch case. Now, in the case of what I wrote, you can write your logic. In the case, you can write your logic. Just to tell you that we can perform the consent action. This is what I'm writing this to tell you that we have a choice to perform the consent action based on the, what was that, unknown token.
Switch select. Switch.
What is the line?
Sorry.
Yeah, I guess I missed C, right? Okay.
No, switch swelling.
Yeah. So go back and go to the data. Already it's not coming up. So what was the bug here?
We are getting the output, Satish.
Acha, I gave a alert. I thought I gave a alert. Okay. So basically, we got the story here. Okay. Now we can apply the consent logic whatever we want at this level. Okay. Now go back to the next case. So we are able to identify the record what we selected. Now extension to this, I want to give a small. Okay. So once you got the ID, can you pass this ID to the? Can I pass this ID to the next component? I will create an event. I will create an event. Whenever the row is selected, fire the event. Whenever the row is selected, fire the event. When you fire the event, the component will handle it. It knows the ID of the record. When it knows the ID of the record, it can display the data what it wants. Am I right? Is that was clear? Is that was clear? Okay. So how can we make this? How can we make this? Let us say Apex class JavaScript application. Okay. Now I'll go with the event. Show record. Some event I have taken. Then what I was supposed to do? Register an event. How do you register an event? C:\. Is only register the event. When you register the event, go to this. Whenever the row selection happened, I'm giving. How do you get the event? Where? How do you get the application level event? $a dot get e dot C:. What is the name of the event? You. What is the ID I have given here? Rec ID. Okay. Fire the event. Now, whichever the row I have selected, get the record, fire the event. Whichever the record I have fetched, get the record ID, fire the event. So after firing the event, so what I want to do here in this case, I'll just put this in the comments. We just don't want to display this data anymore. Then I can go with Right. So I just want to apply the concept of lightning layout with layout item. So it's not working. This lightning layout concept we have used a number of times. What was the concept? Now, right. So what was the lightning layout? Lightning layout with the lightning layout item. So we are just using this. What is the length we have given? 12 is the length what we are going to give. Just let me give. Now what is the length we are getting here? 12 is the length. 12 is the length. I'm just taking this components here. I will take 8 by 4. I will take 8 by 4. Lighting layout. I don't require the class here. This stuff I don't need. Okay. Lighting layout. So I think we messed up. Okay. Let me. Lighting layout. Layout item. Then we can give padding small. Let me remove all this stuff. So I was giving here I was giving size equal to size equal to 8. The next one more layout item. One more layout item. This layout item size equal to 3. Then I'm trying to give C colon. So do you already have a record view component or should I create it? So let me create the record then. Now, can the same component handle it? Can the same component handle it? The same component can handle it, right? Application events, the same component can also handle it. Right? It would be good if I can take one external object and show you. Okay, it's okay. Right. So if I want to go with this record, if is to lightning. Okay, let me put up here, boss. One quick component, I'll take it. Lightning C component, view record data, because it should handle it. Record view. Now in the record view, what we are supposed to take? Simply give the list of fields which you want to give. I can go with a record form to make it simple. Instead of giving all the list of fields, I'll go with the record form. In the record form, what we give? Name of the object. Simply we are going to give name of the object, ID of the record. Here the ID of the record, we dot record. Right. So layout full, or I can give the list of fields which you want to display. So here I am giving URA attribute name equal to record. At the same time, I require URA handler first, then event equal to C colon, what is the event name? View rec action. Then go to the controller. What did I give? Call me C dot call me. Beware. So when it is fired, whatever the ID of the record, when you handle it, call me is invoked. From the event, it is fetching the record ID. Whatever the attribute you passed here, the event will pass record ID. So event dot get param, event dot get param, record ID. The record ID I was setting to. The moment you set to this, what is happening? It is going to display. So tell me how you write URA if is to, you are going to take a flag. Okay, if flag is true, it is going to run. Then we have v dot flag, URA attribute. Here when I am doing it, v dot flag. So only when the record ID is fetched, when the record ID is fetched, the value is going to be true. Only when it is true, the lightning view form, lightning record form will be displayed. You don't want to display all the fields. Right, boss? Now this component will be invoked. This component will be displayed only when the flag is true. So what I'm doing, go to the component here. This component, second C colon, record view exam. What was that? Layout. So I have taken a lightning layout with 8, 9 and 3. So in 9, the data will be displayed. In 3, the consent record, whichever I am going to select, that I want to display. Go back to the app. Select the record. let me cross check whether event is handled fired or not. So check out whether event is fired. Where is the component? The event is not getting fired. Check out the bug here. On row action, set params, record ID. Is fired. What is the issue with this?
Satish, we did define it as
Come again?
I don't know. We did define it as a name first, whereas while firing the event, we are getting the new instance of that event, but not with the event name of first.
No, see,
That's not
application events are always fired with name. Application events are always fired with a name. So we are not okay. Events are fired with always the name of the event, not with the name attribute. Okay, it's not with the name attribute. So let me go back here. Okay, now the issue is, let me give you. Right, 1 minute, Amma. So I made it as a component within a component, right? Okay, component within a component we made actually. So let me make this event as a component level event. I didn't make two siblings. I made it within a child. I made the second component as a child, not within the siblings. Okay, let me make a change here. 1 minute. I'll make the change. Within this, I was supposed to take data table. Account. Now this component I was supposed to call within the application. Now look at this. What I have: layout, data table account. Data table account is this. The data table account. Here I don't need this layout and layout item. I don't need. So this is one component which is getting the list of records and showing it. Go to the application, have a view. event fired. Expected dot in all the qualified names, phone is invalid. Okay. Check out the fields here. Now, did you get the mistake what I made? Did you get the mistake what I made in the previous case? Now I gave application event, but I made component within a component. So parent is firing the event, child is trying to capture. Parent is firing the event, child is trying to capture. In the component level event, what is that? The application level event, sir. Child will fire, parent will capture, siblings will capture. But in that example what I gave, row action is the parent, then the trying to capture by the child. Parent event, child cannot capture it. That's the reason we got an error. So what was that mistake we got here? Account, name, phone, view. So go back to the structure. Reload the component here. Event is getting fired. There is a bug with that. What was that? Invalid layout full. Lot of spell mistakes. Go to the preview again. Right? Now this was running right now because I made this as one component, this as another component. So event fired by this, handled by next. Again I repeat. Previously that event didn't fire because parent was firing the event, I was trying to capture the child. Parent was firing the event, child was trying to capture. Child can never capture the parent event. Okay, that is the mistake. Now whichever the record is selected here. Right. Now, but the problem here is, look at the problem. If it is a view, it should be the view form. If it is editor, it should be the edit form. If it is a deleter, it should be the delete form. Delete means directly deleted. Then what is the solution we can give? Now this is not the solution. Always it is calling the same. Then what should I pass? Pass the name of the event. Now create a view form, edit form. Look at the story again. I'll continue with the same example. This I can close it up. Component, okay. Script here. Here, what is the event we gave? Event. Here I am giving then the script is passing. Comma. My mode action dot action data dot. You're also passing the action name. When you're passing the action name, here this taking the data. I don't need this data now. Here I am going to give one more attribute. Then go back. So whatever the mode you are passing, based on the mode, based on that the mode was given, view or edit. So firing the event, it is capturing the event, setting my mode, Whatever the my mode is given here, that I'm going to give it here. So record form, edit mode or okay, edit mode or view mode.
Satish, you did not capture that view mode into the local variable.
Here we have a record view component. We had a my mode, right? So I didn't set the value. Okay.
Yeah.
Component
And Satish, quick question. So why do you take a local variable and read that event.getParam and again set it as the coding practice?
See, the event was fed by one component. The mode you selected in one component. Whatever the action you selected, that action should be passed to second component. Both are not in the same, right?
No. No, my question was like you define variable is equal to my mode event.getParam and set v my mode. Why can't you set component that set directly the parameter into that?
Only to make it understandable to the people, I written.
Okay.
Yep. Otherwise, you can directly take this and put on this location.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Right, go back to the story again. So we have the edit mode, right? So depends upon the mode what I have selected, I have taken this, right? Now, this, how are you getting this data? Again, on the top we got a search bar. Based on the search what I have given, I am getting the list of record. Based on the record what I selected, view form, edit form, delete, I have another action to be performed. Is that was clear? Is that clear? Right? So what we can do on the top of this page, I have a search bar where you can search. Okay, you can enter the data, click on search. The list of records based on your search is coming. Now, when you're getting the list of record based on your search, based on the whatever the option you are selecting here, whichever the record you are selecting, that record is coming. Now, you want to perform mass operation, select the list of record. On the top, you have a button, update, delete, or transfer. Are you getting my point? Okay. Can you append this with FX programming? Right? Is that was clear? People followed, boss? Sure. Pakka. Right. Now, let us move on. Now, the point here is, here in the last class we told one example. This, my last example was like this. Here I need some pop-up window. I don't want to be record to be displayed left hand side. The record should be displayed on the pop-up window. I don't want the record to be displayed on the left hand side or right hand side component. I want the record to be displayed on the pop-up window. So what is the yesterday's example we are doing? We are told there's a header here, account data. I have a button called contact. When I click on the contact, I told list of contacts should be displayed here. When you say contact, list of contacts should be displayed here like page block table. Then whichever the contact I displayed, that should be here. This is the one of the contacts what I give. Am I right? Yesterday I told when you go to account page, whatever the account we have taken, that account data should be displayed here. This is the account data. Now this is my whichever the distributor I selected, that distributor data will be displayed here. Okay, then the contacts associated with the distributor will be displayed here, or the sub distributors will be displayed here. When I say contact, list of contact, opportunity, list of opportunity. Okay, at the same time I told new case. When I say new case, then what should happen? The pop-up box should come like this, where on the box the creation of contact should happen. So, how to open this pop-up box? Now, this is the general story. Whichever the account you selected, the corresponding contacts are coming. Whichever the distributor you selected, corresponding. Or else we may go with the search operation. I may go with the search operation, product family, active products. Okay, price book. Product name, okay, product family, price book, product family, price book. If you give it, automatically list of products are coming. Select the products based on the product name. Select the products based on the product family. Select the products based on the price book. Okay, I have a search operation. Based on this, we are getting a list of products. At the same time, I also have an option here called new product. This is to search for any existing products. If you want to add a new product, I have a button here, new. When I click on new, a pop-up window should open where I can insert new product. Got my point here? I have a search box there where I am giving the product name or product family or price book. Based on the data what I entered, data is auto-populating here. No, I don't want to auto-populate the existing data. I want to create a new record. Click on new. The consent record should open in a pop-up window. How do you open the record in the pop-up window? There is a question mark. So if you want to open a record in the pop-up window, we had a concept called lightning overlay layout. So let me show you that. Right. Overlay library. This overlay library will be used to populate the pop-up box. To generate a pop-up box, we use overlay. And yesterday, somebody has asked me, can we put up this message in some location? Now, look at the point here. To pop up the box where you want. If you want to create this pop-up box, we have show custom model. Try to understand this one, boss. First, try to understand this functionality. Then I'll show the example. Listen carefully. First, try to understand this example. Show custom model. Now, in the custom model, the pop-up box is coming here. In the pop-up box, header, footer. Not everybody want to put some header. Not everybody want to put some border. Okay. So what we have here? Header, body, footer. Then show here close button. The close button. Do you want to show the close button? Header, body, footer, close button. When I click on the close button, you want to show any message for me? Or just you want to leave it? Or just you want to give a console that boss window is closed? So close, if it is closed, what do you want to do? So header, body, footer, close button and closed action. Header, footer, body, close action. Right? This will be there in the overlay. Okay. So what was that? In the model, we have a header, we have a body, we have a show close button, we have a CSS class if you want to. It's not mandatory in our case now. Let me simplify this. Close callback action. Close callback. Now if you close, what is the action we want to perform? This is the element. Okay. But how is it by default coming? No. Whenever you want, you are populating it. That means you are dynamically creating this component. It is not straight away populated. You are dynamically creating this component. So what I was supposed to do? Look at the point here. Look at the point. I am going to use $a.create. Yesterday already we have seen how to create a component. Then I am giving create. Content. Create component. If you have any attributes. Then we are going to give function, component, status. This is the syntax for creating a dynamic component. Am I right? Name of the component, attributes, and callback action. Now in the callback action, what I want to do, where body equal to whatever the component that is created, I am putting in a variable called body. Now I am giving component dot find some ID, show custom model. So custom model. Whatever the component you created, put that component in the body of the model and show me. Whatever the dynamic component you created, put the dynamic component in the body of the model and show me. Whatever the dynamic component you created, put that component in the body of the model and show me. So here we are showing the model. In the model, what are the attributes we have? Header. This is example. Body. And just give body. Whatever the store, the same story what we given.
Okay, Satish, variable body is equal to component.getBody is something like the command, right? It's
No, see, now whatever the component we created, that component I am assigning to the variable called body. I'm not.
oh, okay.
Right.
You're not getting the body. Okay.
Yeah. So this is how we are putting the component. So you are trying to create one component, dynamic component. That component you are putting in the body of the model and trying to put. Your pop-up window is opening. In the pop-up window, what should be displayed? The pop-up window has header, footer, body. In the body of the pop-up window, what you want to display? In the body of the pop-up window, what you want to display? This is the example. So let me show you a quick example here. I created a component. I'm not writing any actions, any logics here. I'm just putting up the data. Lightning. Right. This is the component what I created. Now what I'm doing, I'm creating one more component here. Right. Yeah, I'm just copy pasting this code for a quick view. So look at the structure what we had. There is one button. There is one button, and we had lightning overlay. Or else let me put up the other story. Create a new component. Here I'm giving some name like my block. Right. Anything new you are finding in this case? Only one overlay library element is there with the ID. When I call show, what are you supposed to do? $a dot create this component. Which component you want to create? C colon create. Then I have function, component, state, under. This is what I did. I was taking some here. What is the action we want to create? Component dot find my block. Component dot find my block means find the element whose ID is my block. Here what we need, show custom model box. Show custom model. Show custom model. Let me move on. Here we have show custom model. In the custom model, what we have? Header, body. What is the body here? Body. Okay, close button, CSS class, callback action. Now look at this. Here I told whatever the custom component that was created, model body equal to C. Whatever the new component that you created, that I am putting to model body. Right. Now in the model body, what are you doing? Header, anything of your choice. Body equal to model body. So whatever the new component you created, you kept that component in the model body variable that we are assigned. Show close button, yes. CSS, when you close the button, what do you want to do? Some closing errors, let me check out. Let me see and see the error. So what was that? Line number 20.
I think after 16 you need one extra bracket, one extra parenthesis. Yeah. Yeah. When you copied one less.
Okay.
I think it's a flower bracket.
1 minute. 1 minute. Show model. Yeah. Now let's move on. Let's go to this component. What I will do, so let's get the functionality. We'll try one more example. No contacts. So open a record. Create it. What was that? Get callback. Model body is not defined. Where model body? Model body equal C.
I think line number 11, the spelling model body.
Right. So go back to the code now again. Refresh. This is how the pop-up window. Right? We're getting the pop-up window in this one. Now header report. Similarly, I want to add up one more component here. here. So we are creating a component here. Array of components. I told we can create array of. I told we can create array of components, right? So c dot create. I told create footer. Create a component, create a contact, create a component, create a footer. Now two components I am trying to create. So here I had header equal to body equal to CMP of 0. Footer equal to so what I was trying to create, multiple components. Component 1, create a contact, no attributes. Component 2, create a footer, no attributes. Then first one is create a contact, which I am putting as body. Second one is footer, which I am putting as. When you create multiple components, we have array of elements. That actually we missed out. Somebody has asked me that multiple components, right? So example.
Okay. So the parameter, the function has three.
1 minute. Let me finish up this.
Okay.
Then we have this. Okay. We have this. Now tell me how. Okay. This action. When you click on this, we are supposed to capture the data. Okay. Yes, Suma. Now go ahead. What is your question?
Okay. So if you go to the component, you had three parameters: component, state, and error. Will all three be list now that we are passing two components here?
Yeah, it will be listed. Now CMP is a list, right?
Yeah, CMP is a list. State and error message also list, right?
Obvious. Yeah.
Because every.
Now
Okay.
the point is, if all of them are success, it will give success. If any one of it
if
fail,
one of them is.
yeah, obviously, right? So in
Okay.
any one fail, it gives a fail. So what I have done again? Now I hope now you go to the story. Now what I have done? Created a component, body, component 0, footer, component 1, and header also I can create one more component, put in a header. The header also I can create one more component. Let me put up one more component again. Lightning component, create header. Here I have, please mute your mic, Amma. You're all set. So then again I'm putting up this extra component here. One more component I require. Now header. So header component, body, footer. Show close button is to show, okay, tell you whether close button should be displayed or not. If you close the button, what is the action should be performed? Just you want to give a console message, you can give it. Okay. Now I hope this is clear now. So custom model has header, body, footer, show close button or not. Rest of the things is your choice. Now go back, same story. Now I hope you got that functionality. Okay. Now how we are supposed to use this in our example? There's some bug here. Commas are missing anywhere. Header.
I think in the create footer view, comma, line number 11.
Yes. So more than the logics, debugging has become complex. Right. Right. You can organize it whatever the way you want. Right. This is the structure what I mentioned. So you are designing the component whatever you want as per your requirement. So what was this called? Show custom model. What is the name of the function? Show custom model. This model will be displayed in the location where you specified lightning overlay. Okay, the show custom model what you created will be printed in that component. How you assign it? Lightning overlay library. Right, Amma? Is it was clear for everyone? Now come back to our example. What I specified here we have a okay. I told create a. Let me move on to this. Probably you get the data better. Now tell me how you create this one now. We know how to create this structure. Then we have new case. Right? We have a new node with the corresponding actions. Right? This is how we are creating. Then when I have a list of records here, when I have a list of records, the corresponding data should be displayed. How you create this data? Right? Can we build this? Right? Now when I click on the tab, we are going to get a pick list. Based on the option what I am selecting the pick list, I want the list of records to be displayed. That is we can do with the pick list and the search operation. When I change the option there, go to the Apex class, get the value. How you get those option? Go to the schema programming, get the list of option, display it. Whatever the option we selected, automatically go to the Apex class, get the data, display it in the form of page block table. Then select the records, perform whatever the operation you want. Select the records. Here you create a button, update, delete, transfer. Then whichever the record you selected, select edit or delete, the same operation we have performed. Right? Okay. When you go to detail page of a record, now we can know how to get this record, make a modifications, save, update, delete. You want to pop up any other record, button here, which will give overlay pop-up buttons. Right, Amma? I hope you got the story. Is that was clear? Right? Is that was clear? Now let us make a complete full-fledged example. Now try to get this full-fledged example now. Look at this. Now we have when I enter the data based on the search term what I entered. If I enter the name, search based on the name. Enter the industry, search based on combination. Whichever you are giving, based on your combination, we are getting a list of records here. You're supposed to give here. Share. Right, when I click on account, new account creation, when I click on share, whichever the account records I selected here, those records should be shared with the concerned person. Whichever the records I shared here, this record should go to, whichever the records I selected here, the record should go, whichever the records I selected here, from this data should go to this component. When I click on share, whatever the records I selected here, those records should be shared with the concerned person. Right, update. Now if you have a view, some icon here. This is view that record, edit that record, delete that record. We have a search operation. Based on the search data we are getting here, whatever the records I am selecting, select the records, click on the button called delete, select the records, click on the button called share. Now selecting the records in one component, button is in another component. Selecting the records in one component, but button is in another component. So you are supposed to pass the data from this component to that component. So it is application level event. Whenever the event occurs on this component, find the event which is going to be handled with the parent, which will capture the list of record. On those list of records, you edit. On the list of record, you delete. Right? Right? So if I select any particular record, the record data should be displayed here. So if you implement this, almost the last 3 concepts what I covered will be covered here. Right? Try from your end. I'll try to share the code in the next class. Right, boss? That's all from my end. See you all in the next session. And the next class, I'm going to cover interfaces, tab sets, migration of the tabs. Okay, moving between the tabs, vertical menus, horizontal menus, interfaces, renders. Next week, I'm going to cover vertical menus, horizontal menus, interfaces, okay, tab views, and renders concept. These are the topics which I'm going to cover for the next week. Okay, URA method, URA interface, URA method, vertical menu, horizontal menu, and next rendered concept, tab views. These will be the topics for the next week. Right.